Hello and welcome to Blake's World. Today we're going to be working on my 1992 Ford Taurus SHO with the 3.0. Today we're going to be addressing the front end. The inner tie rods are worn out and it's kind of giving me quite a bit of play, and definitely makes it not as fun to drive when it's like that. But I'm going to show you best way to do that, the rental tool that you can use to get them off. You can get it up to the alignment shop without wearing out your tires or possibly breaking any new parts. And I'll just kind of give you the knowledge I have, and hopefully this will help anyone that has a front wheel drive vehicle. Before jacking the car up, you always want to make sure that you break your lug nuts loose. Otherwise, you could put unwanted stress on your transmission, or the wheel will just spin. Also, make sure when you're jacking your car up that you always find a very solid place and that you use your jack stands on a secure jack point so the car does not fall. And make sure that you're nice and level. Otherwise, you could hurt yourself, the car, or others around you. Make sure your e-brake's on as well. And I usually do one on one side, on the other. Make it a little safer. A little safer. Always helps anyway, usually. Most likely this will be the tool that you'll probably be using. It's 48607, and this one's from Advanced Auto. And that's gonna really help you out with getting them inner ones out. Now, we'll go over the outer ones in just a second. All right, so the next thing you wanna do once you have your car jacked up is you want to work on getting the cotter key out. I always try to straighten it a bit. Sometimes you have to just cut them out. They're pretty old. Sometimes I can get a hold of the loop at the end and pry it out. This one doesn't feel like she's wanting to work with me this time. But that's all right. That's all right. What we'll do, we'll take the end here, one piece of it, and hopefully we can pull out the other piece. Where's my needle nose? And for the record, as far as knowing that the inner tie rods is I've got way too much play in it. Now normally if you shake a tire up and down, it could be your lower ball joint, side to side, inner, outer tie rod. And sometimes if it's all four, up and down, side to side, it's your wheel bearing. As I'm changing this all out, I'm probably gonna count how many turns it takes to take it off, so I'll know how many turns to put it back on with the other one, just to keep it relatively the same alignment, so that when I go to the alignment shop I don't destroy my tires. So alright, so next it's going to be a 17 millimeter, the castle nut on the bottom. I'm going to take my extending ratchet, and being that it's extending, that kind of helps with the torque. The longer of a bar you have, the more torque you can apply against it to kind of break her loose. So but I do have a torquer bar, or a breaker bar, just in case. This doesn't always work with this shorter bar, but it's pretty good for most of the time. Anyway, once I get this bolt off, you're gonna want to, I usually put it back on if I can't get it out with the pickle fork, tuning fork like this. If that doesn't work, sometimes you can put the bolt back on the bottom and kind of try to knock it out. Other people, they'll actually take a hammer and kind of try not to hit your your dust cover or your actual rotor, but they'll hit right there, and that can make it pop out. Sometimes you're successful doing that, sometimes not so much, just depending on kind of what how weathered the vehicle is. So anyway, once we get that off, we're gonna take this nut here. It's a jam nut, and that kind of makes it so that it can't anything can't back off, and it'll stay exactly where it's put. All right, so let's see what we can do here. Now, normally these pickle forks, you start beating on them, you tear these boots, and then dirt can get into the grease. So sometimes, if you can put that on there like that, and let's get old Thor over here and see what. There we go. Now that I got that loose, take that castle nut back off. Keep that right there. Now, you've got the bellow, the rubber boot. You can reuse that clip. The inner one, it will break, and you'll have to zip tie it or fix it, you know what I mean, so that it can't get any dirt in there. But you gotta get that bellow off. So the best way, I just take my needle nose, I pop that off. Once I get that off, I work on the back one, and then first, of course, before I do all that, I'm gonna get the jam nut off. But anyway, after the jam nut and you get that off, it should slide right off. All right, now that I've got that loose, we're gonna back that off just a hair. And in this case, since I'm replacing everything, like I said, I'm just gonna do the counts here, so we have, let's see, we've got half, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's about 15 and a half. So we got about 15 and a half. Now, some people will use tape. You can use paint. You can use a paint marker. Count threads. I used to count threads so that's always a good idea. All right, so now I'll grab my needle nose, and we're gonna start on this little bellow boot. All right, here we go. Got the needle nose here, and let's pull this bad boy down. Now, I usually use a flathead. I'm gonna try to see if these needle nose will do it or not. Usually I get a flathead into that little mushroom clamp, and I kind of just bend it outward a little bit, and that will get it enough to where you can pull that bellow off. Once you get that off, then I can show you how to use that Reynolds. Now, whatever you do not want to put a hole in this, and there's going to be a little nick there, and you're going to use a flathead to get in there and kind of break that seal. But whatever you do, don't rip the bellow. That's not fun, and they're not, no, it's not fun to have to go buy another part. So once I got the ring off, which it ended up breaking, all I did is kind of pull on it and popped it off that deal there, and now I should be able to pull her off. There she goes. Got the bellow off. Now we're cooking. You can see where that's not really doing too well. All right, so mine is a 1 5/16, and as you can tell, they're little half sockets. So what you do is you actually put that at the end where the bolt's at, right down here. Make sure it fits. Let me get this back off, and then you slide this onto here, so you can see how that fits on there, and then this slides onto here. And then you make sure she's nice and tight. And I'm going to use, in this case, I'm going to use my breaker bar. Just because I think I'm going to have a little better luck with it. Just if I had to guess. And hopefully. Oh, golly. That was fun. I think I got her, but I hope I got her. We're about to find out though now, aren't we? Let me pull that out real quick. It's all fun and games until something crazy happens. Is it just gonna spin off that easy if my luck's that easy? Or, I mean, that's how it feels, but you never know. You never know. Well, I don't know. See, it feels real easy. And it's getting real hard. Okay, let's see. So let's try now. Let's get this back on there where it's supposed to go. Which is there. So, I guess I'll try a ratchet. Give me just a second. Let me see if that works. Let me check it real quick and see how far I am. Okay, so real quick on so the new ones have these itty bitty little Allens that go in here, and this is kind of what was wrong. There it is, and that's what kind of holds it. But you look at the original one though, and I do not know why it was so bad, but obviously it was. Definitely is where I was getting a lot of my slop at. This one, on the other hand, you know, it's really hard to move. I can't even move it at all. So I've got those flush. I'm about to put her back on and, well, put her back together, start on the next side. All right, now that we've got this a little bit better, it's time go ahead and finish tightening her up all the way, which I'm pretty close here. I'm tightening. But usually you can feel. See, I'm pretty close. There we go, that should be. There we go. Now that I have that where I want it, I'm going to take little Allen ends. Make sure that I get those in, and it's just, you know, make sure it can't. I just dropped it. I see it, but that still stinks. They're very small, I'll tell you that. Not fun to have to get it in there. Now, tighten that bad boy up. I don't want any dirt or dust in there. That'd be horrible. Wouldn't want to thread in, that's for sure. So I've got those both in. I'm going to tighten them up. All right, now it's time to put the jam nut back on. You know, we want to make sure that when we put these back on, that we tighten it, you know, so tight that no one else will ever be able to get it off. All right, let's see. Let's go all the way up to 16.5. So we've got, starting here, that would be, what we'd want to do a half. So we do half. Make sure she actually screws on now. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now, I would like to take the old one at this time, kind of take the opportunity to kind of line it up with how it originally was. Just kind of take a gander here and see if that's pretty close. Alright, so is it supposed to feel that loose? It's not quite right. I don't know, that's what they gave me at good old AutoZone. Yeah, I believe it should still be. Now, the only problem is I'm just kind of getting this to see how close I am. And I can already tell by how she's angled compared to my wheels being completely straight. That's not right. So I haven't even put the bellow back on. But here's the thing. I wanted to, since I noticed that felt funny, looked funny, the whole 9 yards, we're going to try a couple things real quick. So first thing first, what the heck is going on here? Let's pull this bad boy back out. Let's take her back off real quick. Let's pull her off. I don't want to lose any of this. Now, why is that flat there? See, that makes me think something's not right. I might have to take these back to AutoZone. You always want to check your parts too, because you never know when you might have a faulty part here. I'm thinking this one might be a wee bit faulty. No. Alright, so now we're about to do the other side. Well, let's get started on this one. You know, what's crazy though is I was told that these had been replaced. And I know they're a little wee bit rusty, but still, it makes me wonder if they really had been replaced or not. I have a feeling they haven't been, but you never know. I could be wrong. Alright. Let's see what we can do here. Alright. Of course, this Cotter key fought me all the way. I had to literally stop. Tear it apart. Let's see if I can get this one. There we go. There's that. Then okay, so let's see if we're thinking about it. We're looking at it. It's gonna go up just a hair. Take that down there. All right, here we go. Let's count. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and, well, almost 20 turns for that one. That's dry as a bone. I mean, you can see that one's pretty gnarly. And this one actually is the worst out of the two of the inner tie rods. This car was all over. It wasn't even really that much fun to drive. being a standard front wheel drive with the Yamaha engine, 220 horsepower, a lot of torque steer on that one. So definitely not fun when it's all over the road. Alright, let's see what we can do now. Let's go ahead and get the boot off. Oops. Let's see. Be very careful, like I said on the last side, not to tear the boot because, including these ones that have the oil that will leak out of it. This side's kind of harder to see, and with the sun on it, get the opposite. Sometimes you gotta do things by feel. Now I got that off. Still having trouble though with the inner clamp on this one. I'll see if I can do this by feel one more time. There we go. There we go. And I still got that intact. So if you're pretty gentle when you're doing that, oh wow, look at all that. If you're pretty gentle, yeah, this was about to break anytime. Now we're gonna get our trusty tool here. So preferably goal of the game here. And it makes it a lot easier when you have that Raker bar. Alright. And sometimes you hit yourself in the face like that. Of course I got it loose, so I guess it's worth it, but hey. Check her out real quick. She's seen better days. I'll leave it at that. She's seen better days. Anyway, I would definitely recommend this tool. I've used the cheaper kind, and this one seems to work pretty good. See, other cars will have like a little flat spot, a little deal that you have to flatten it out or push it off on other inner tie rods, where this one's a little different. The other one I just kept on going until I eventually got a good enough lick on it. Now, I've checked this other side and it seems to be a little bit better. Now I'm going to put the bellow back on. I want to make sure that we have our clip here going after. Now this package did come with some grease. That's alright, let's see. Let me just a little bit up in there on the actual ball joint here. Hopefully that will keep her going for a long time to come. Be sure she's nice and cleaned out. Now, I believe I might be able to put this one back together. Just maybe. Usually these things break afterward because the way they go, they slide into that hoop there and lock on there, but sometimes, just sometimes, get her to hook back up. Doubtful, but let's just see what we can do with what we got here. We want to make sure we get that little tube hooked back up as well. Right. Now, take this back on as well. Then we want to put this back on for final assembly. Alright. Now what I'm saying now, this other one's a little bit different, but you can tell if I line this up here, you can see how there's so many more threads. So realistically, it would be about there. That's where the old one was. So the old jam nut, we'll try to count it. So we're going to start here. We're going to do half of one, So that would be, so I start at half, so that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. But I want my wheels to be fairly straight because I have the steering wheel pointed completely straight right now. But you definitely don't want them to fight each other. All right, let's get that there. Now I want to tighten that jam nut up. All right, position at the moment. Bring down my tie rod end. You want to also make sure it lines up to the point of where you can put the cotter key in. Get that bad boy through. Here, put that on there, but we want to make sure to hit that little groove there. Put that on there. I want to go ahead and peel that one back. And I take the shorter side so that castle nut cannot back out on itself. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, and there's that side. So we'll go continue to the other side. Okay, so what I did before I actually took off in Grover is I took my tape measure, and because I know the back is aligned correctly, so I took the inside of both tires, used my tape measure to measure, then I took it up front and measured both. It's not gonna tear anything up to the point of where I'll need new tires by the time I get to the alignment shop. So far she seems nice and tight. She's running great. I'm happy and I'm ready to get to the next project. I still want to tint the windows, which we'll get down the road on that one. Tomorrow we're gonna go to the alignment shop and we'll check that out and see what goes on with that.